recording. So today we have what, 29th of June 2022, weekly AMA. DeFIRE with myself, Firefly, and in the audience we have Smacaroni and Zephyr. So our usual crowd this time of the day for the past couple of AMAs. So welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And while you're even discussing that, I'm forcing others to join as we speak.
You are. Well,
uh,
the door is open, so the more people join, the better. Then, we can have some new perspectives,
real
perhaps
com.
some, yeah,
Oh,
new questions and whatnot. But anyway, I mean, today I just wanted, well, before we just go to some random discussions, just wanted to give some updates. So, we are actually, well, as we speak, we have quite extensive development works going on at the moment for the MVP of Blaze, so the first protocol. The firm that we have hired to develop the code, the protocol, 10 clouds, they are, I believe, working on their second milestone out of five. So they have defined five milestones to deliver this MVP. So the second milestone they are working on this week. Each milestone is actually 1 week. So as you can guess, the whole sprint or the delivery is about 5 weeks long. Let's say there is a delay, a week or two. So let's say between 5 to 7 weeks. So they're working on that. So possible time frame to for Blaze to be finalized, the MVP version or the beta version, if we call it also like that. It's sometime around early August or mid August. Most likely, then we would deploy it on a test net, so for everybody to try and test it, because we still need to see if everything functions as it's supposed to. Well, obviously, whatever 10 Clouds delivers is well internally quality assured, checked, and whatnot. They have internal processes for delivering projects, so there is certainly high quality of the work. Um, there also been external audits on the code too. We are discussing with an auditor called QuantStamp to schedule when they can receive the code of Blaze and then do the audit. So that will be another process we'll be initiating. They cannot start well yet, but soon, once a larger portion of the code is finalized, I believe we can hand over the first package and they can start looking at it. So that's on the back end. So you can say smart contract development. So things are moving fast and moving in the right direction. Then with the launch of MVP, well, the works will not stop. We'll be then working on adding more features to Blaze protocol. But the initial features, which are containers or strategies with various containers, there'll be the whole interaction with DeFIRE tokens, so the governance element of it, the revenue sharing and whatnot, that is also part of the MVP. So the basic features will be there, and then more complexity will be added. And then with time, there'll be also support for more chains added to Blaze. Um, to start with, it will be Polygon and one more chain, and more chains will be added gradually. We first wanted to limit the scope to two chains, so that can be deployed fairly soon and also tested on those two chains, and then more chains, more support will be added. So that's pretty much on the back end or the smart contract. In parallel, we are actually also working on the front end, so how the application might look like. Um, And actually, if you want, you can test it yourself. I mean, for now it's empty, blank. There is, well, it's not populated with pages, but a website called preview.defire.finance. We have yesterday deployed this test front end. Obviously, it's not linked to any smart contract code yet. So, but it sort of shows what the functionality will be there once Blaze launches. And as we speak, we are working on those sub pages to also include them in this preview. Um, Most likely there'll be just static images of the design, so it will not be possible to hover over those buttons and click them and whatnot. But once one of those buttons is clicked, a new window will or a new website will open or subdomain will open with a static view of what we envision for, let's say, a sub page with strategies or portfolio, leaderboard, and voting to look like. I mean, there are some basic, yeah. I mean, there is not much. I mean, yeah, you can connect to MetaMask, but nothing will really happen. There is something about settings and basic things. Yeah, something about searching for strategies and whatnot. This is all examples, and it's not, as I said, linked to any code yet. It is just to visualize, and there'll be more visualization added to it in the coming days and weeks. So we have these two parallel processes being worked on.
Mm.
Other than that, I mean, unless you have some questions already to that before I move to the next part.
Well, actually, I would actually ask Phoenix if he was here. I got a few people to join, but they're having a little trouble verifying. I believe
Oh,
it's Adam from IOTA. Um, if you don't mind checking, sorry to interrupt, obviously, but
no problem. Let's see. They are having problems verifying. Right.
I hope he may not actually. He just I know he joined, but he hasn't got the member role yet.
Give me a sec. No problem. We can, I think, quickly fix that if I just find the right channel.
Mm-hmm.
hmm I believe it must be.
I would
So,
assume verify something there.
yeah.
Roles. Yeah.
What is the name of the person we're talking about? Oh, the Discord
Adam.
name. Adam.
Adam.
Adam. I can't see Adam. I can see Spoopel. Spoopel. Somebody called Spoopel.
Hmm.
Um,
Interesting.
which is somebody from IOTA I can see because we are sharing IOTA. IOTA. Oh, it's Adam from IOTA. Yeah, there he is. So
Yeah.
he has a member role.
Is
I
Poople attempt?
Spoopel, yes, he has a member role, so he should be able to join. I could
Uh, I'll ping
invite.
him. But yes, thank you, my man. I just wanted to, that was
Absolutely.
good.
Absolutely. Let me go to a general chat and we can ping him there.
Absolutely. Always have more to have fun with friends. Um,
Sure. Feel free to join the AMA with the link above. Boom, there we are. He should,
awesome.
he
But yeah,
sh
it's interesting. I mean, honestly, like it's just become a hobby at this point for me. Just like I find a neat protocol. Let's see if I can corrupt it and get it on Shimmer.
Yeah, well, certainly. So, no, then speaking of integration with future, well, with other chains in future, obviously, Shimmer
Hmm.
or part of the or subchain of, I think it's called, isn't it? Is it a subchain? I believe it is, right?
So it's like a test net almost. It's like Polkadot, Kusama's Polkadot.
Mhm.
So there's that. And then when things get tested, they'll move on to the IOTA mainnet and then assembly.
All right. So yeah, definitely we are. Okay, as soon as his meeting ends, he'll be there. Perfect. Um, Sounds great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's wonderful. But yeah, no, man, it's interesting. Seeing the it's some of the protocols on IOTA, and that's why I'm like glad I introduced DeFi, to the foundation, Touchpoint, are just so unique. Someone like from Yenatech,
Hmm.
like tokenized land initiative, to help support and crowdfund agricultural
Hmm.
initiatives, and home DAO, which is tokenizing
Hmm.
renewable energy assets, all these interesting things um that would otherwise not be kind of done in normal DeFi spaces.
Well, absolutely. And and also what was interesting, well, I'll have to probably explore it a little bit more, but I saw an interesting comparison of how much energy consumption goes towards one transaction on IOTA compared to one transaction on Bitcoin or Ethereum, for
Ethereum.
instance.
Oh, I know exactly what you're looking at. Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're looking at.
Um, and the energy consumption was, and I think it was a nice comparison, give sort of on a nice perspective set. So how much energy well is used, obviously, for one transaction, and how much it's sort of how long would it power a single household for, right? And
Oh yeah, I got the graphic
yeah,
right here.
and I believe like if I'm now remembering right, I think Bitcoin was about a week or a month of energy supply for a single household for one
Mhm.
transaction. Ethereum was something like few days, and Shimmer was milliseconds or
Yeah,
IOTA, right?
honestly,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
truly unique. I mean, it probably wouldn't be even hard to verify the claims of these. Statement. It was just obviously an infographic on one of these protocols,
Uh,
but but honestly, it's cool. Like
mm,
even deep diving into all this stuff, it actually feels like it is because the faster and more widespread Shimmer goes, or
mm,
even IOTA, the more and faster and secure it will become. In
mhm.
least in my no.
Yeah, absolutely. I will give me a second. I'll open that graphic so I can share it in the
Oh,
recording as
absolutely.
well.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
so I wasn't that far off. 22 days for Bitcoin. So I was in between a few days to a month, and then Ethereum. Okay, 2 days. Yeah.
It'll be interesting. We kind of took a little detour on IOTA, but one final point on that. It's interesting. I want to be interested to see, and we'll probably talk more as Adam comes back, how how they're going to handle the DeFi. Well, for lack of a better term, apes and degens.
Yeah.
How are they going to? The IOTA community is admittedly not a deep super. They're hungry to make profits, they want to make money, um but they're not real degenerate yet, or yet at least, they don't do they honestly don't try to abuse the system much because there hasn't been anything to abuse yet.
Mm,
It'll be interesting to see when the IOTA even gets eyes or traction, when how the current DeFi constituents of like say Phantom or like the Binance Smart Chain, like, hey, this seems attractive, and they kind of go over there. Will they have measures in place, to deter such things, or
mm.
have they even thought that far?
Yeah, definitely. And I believe so. Now, obviously nobody can really predict, but assuming we'll
Yeah,
be in this, let's say, well, weak market for another couple of months, let's say to even some say to a year, maybe longer. I mean, nobody really knows, right?
yeah, no one really knows.
But we could be in this kind of market context for some time, for like in the foreseeable future, right? Because ultimately, well, you know, crypto market is highly correlated to the traditional market, and traditional market is well highly dependent on the decisions of the Federal Reserve. And well, since now the Federal Reserve is fighting the inflation in the US, and
Mhm.
the means they chose
Yeah.
to do that is by increasing the interest rate. So all these speculative assets, well, they are well losing value, right? Because well, it's more appealing, more and more appealing to go to more well to safer investments, which are bonds, right, and obligations
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot, right, because they are paying now higher interest compared to what they used to pay. I know. So it seems that well, crypto obviously is correlated to that, and nothing will really change in the whole in the fundamentals for as long as
Mm-hmm.
this fight against inflation continues, pretty much, right? And
100%.
so it could take some time, and the good thing about it, well, there are still teams, there are still projects, obviously less than a year ago, but there are still teams that are committed to build and to develop new solutions, new projects.
Honestly, those are the people who say, "Hey, things are real shitty," but we keep going. There'll probably be a brighter future, ahead, at the end of the tunnel, you know. Because honestly, those who stick around and keep on the ground floor for when things are about to boom and blast off, they will benefit the most.
Indeed, and
You know,
also, and also, I mean, to be, let's say, to launch a successful project in this market, you have to truly offer something unique, something novel, something that hasn't been introduced before. I mean, going for a Tomb or Olympus fork today, it's probably a bad
Mm.
idea, right? Nobody's going to use it because
Yeah,
people don't want.
if you do a clean fork, you're not going to do well, probably.
Indeed.
Uh,
So now this market conditions, they really require that teams are innovative because otherwise their projects are just going to die because there'll be no interest in them, right? There is still.
Even if they are innovative, it's just it's a confluence of factors, honestly.
Mm,
Just like let's take I'm not you like let's say DeFire or
mhm,
for example, you could have the best concept in the world, the most innovative kinds, and DeFire, it's not solely going to be you have Blaze protocol, but you're going to have others in the future.
mhm,
Um, you know, but you can have the most innovative protocols, but there's only like a few hundred participants, that doesn't bode well because I mean I have faith in you guys, no worries. But just for this example,
mhm, mhm.
it's all about the widespread adoption and how big
Oh,
things can
certainly.
get.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
I mean, yeah, you still need adoption, you still need a user base for any protocol to succeed. But I would argue that what I was trying to say that
mm,
in this it's easier or probably easier. I mean, the higher chance for wider adoption is for the protocols who are innovative in this
yes, absolutely.
market conditions than those that are trying to ride the hype and then benefit from a success of something that was already launched before, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I do find it admirable, at least for people who do fork specific contracts. They're all, this is how I kind of believe. If you copy a contract, there's hype around it, you're going to most likely fail. But for those who survive and can innovate after, essentially forking the code, kudos to them. They, did it something right. At least, maintain enough
Yeah, absolutely.
user base because forking isn't essentially a bad thing.
No,
Like
no,
it's
I
kind of
fully
got this
agree.
it has a negative connotation in DeFi, but I was talking to, I suppose, one of the founders from another protocol. And it's more about we fork so we can collaborate and innovate on top of the original's creation. And I
Exactly.
feel like DeFi actually needs to come to the terms with that and kind of realize that forking's not a bad thing. Innovation is good.
It is.
Clean force,
Mhm.
and trying to prey on people's greed and kind of hype and ignorance is a bad thing though.
Exactly. And this is like the forking we know from, let's say, throughout 2021, right? When this, just running on the hype train of, let's say, Olympus and Tomb, there were protocols who were trying to obviously enrich themselves with the hype. And yeah, I mean, that market context, sure, you can do that. But as you say, and some teams, yeah, definitely, there are still some left, some protocols that started off as forks of Olympus and Tomb that try to kind of benefit from that hype. They are still around. They are still developing. They are still evolving to something, new. So definitely, there are still teams that exist, but many projects, well, they just disappeared, right?
Yeah, yeah, they honestly just fizzle out, of
Mm.
existence. Or they're still on the blockchain, I suppose, but
Yeah.
they're just, they're kind of some empty corpses of a protocol basically at that point.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, they are. They are for sure. So, yeah, that definitely. Even the Terra original blockchain, well, it's still there, but
yeah,
everything's
it's
just
still there. It's immutable. You can't really destroy it. Like, I mean, I guess you could if you dropped a nuke on the servers or wherever houses the blockchain, but that's another story for a different day.
yeah.
um,
So the blockchain is still there, but the value is just converging to zero, isn't it?
yeah, it pretty much is. You know,
Mm.
yeah, it's crazy. I'm curious what you think. You know, well, I actually get a little bit on Blaze a bit.
Uh-huh.
You have your containers, you have specific strategies. Are some of them going to be automated strategies, or some more like actively managed?
Well, what we are aiming for is that each strategy will operate in two or three modes, depends on the
Mm-hmm.
market context. Let's say there'll be like a bullish mode, a bearish mode, and let's say a neutral mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and depending on where we are, in the broader market context, then a given mode will be chosen, and then the strategy will or the container will operate with that mode. When to switch from one mode to another, there'll be parameters set in the strategy, in the documentation for the strategy will be described. All right, when we are whatever these five parameters are met, we are going into the bullish, and if those other five are met, we are going into bearish, right? There'll be a set of parameters defined for that container, but the switch uh, will be manual by the asset manager responsible for the container. But it will be all clear, and probably it even will be on the interface where you'll see a set of parameters that need to be ticked for a strategy to change from this mode to that mode, and that will be displayed on the front end, so everybody knows. Yeah, okay, well, now we are in bearish because of those five things, for instance, right? But when they change from this to that, then we'll move to another mode. So this transition from mode to mode, I mean, that will not, it's not something that will happen 3 times a day, right? It's more probably like once a month, or even, I mean, every half a year, depends, right, on if the market context changes or not. But so the intention is that those modes, the change from mode to mode will not be too frequent, because, well, nobody wants to just do unnecessary transactions because there are always fees associated, right? So it's sometimes just best to let funds work, and then just generate profit for the users.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Um, Now I'm trying to think. I'm curious, and this is more of a
Mhm.
inconsequential, lighthearted question. Next protocol, if you had to give it a fire themed name, what would you do?
Well, we already have it. It's Ignite.
Or I should read your Medium articles more. That's a
No, no,
good point.
no worries. So we have Ignite. What will be beyond that? Well, we had Spark protocol also initially planned for, but didn't hit our drawing board. But the
Mhm.
name, Spark, is also there, so possible to use, and I'm sure there'll be more.
So why didn't you start with Ignite and then later with Blaze?
Yeah, yeah, whether there is any logic, right? So you're trying to sort of, what is the logical kind of
It's a very
order?
nitpicky, like, oh God, Zeph, you're so intolerable.
No, there's also, we had also a name like Forge. There is also a good name to to,
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
to use. So you can
Honestly, Forge Protocol would be actually a good name. Not gonna lie, that's a good name.
yeah.
Um,
because you know many things can happen in the Ford, right? You can be turning one thing into another thing, and yes, for sure there is.
Honestly, Inferno Protocol, Ember,
Yes,
you know,
there are many good names still to
you
pick.
could even do sun like fiery things like Nova Protocol. Yeah, there's a lot of things. Fire has a lot of fun terms for it.
Yeah, or you know, we could also go drastically the opposite direction and for let's say, well, a new wave of protocols that's let's say fit semantically together. It could be something like with ice theme instead, just to do something like opposite
Like
to
so,
what.
we are DeFire, but we know you can, like we are DeFire, but you can also get burned by ice. So we're gonna pivot that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, we haven't really fought more than those like Spark Forge on future names if we
Yeah,
have to come
well,
up
yeah,
with some.
that's future. It was just more of a lighthearted, comment. Just thought, food for thought. But it is interesting. I'm very confident that DeFi will do well. There are actually protocols though, like if you look at Wayfinder and a few other
Hmm
ones,
hmm
I think there's like one other one, that's
Hmm.
coming out with a similar, I don't know, strategy investment kind of strategies protocol. Not sure if you had to give a name to DeFi or what it would technically be, officially as a style of protocol. But similar types of protocols are going to pop up. Whoever pops up, pop launches first, will
Yeah,
have,
certainly.
at least in my opinion, will want do the
Mm,
best.
mm,
Or
certainly.
whoever gets the most eyes on it. But
Yeah.
first in-person advantage is always good. Like even on Ethereum for like well, at least for seniorage protocols, there
hmm
was that Bored Ape Monkey thing, Farm Club. I don't know. It was something, and then it died pretty quickly because I'm a jerk. And then there's Goldman on that's also a seniorage protocol on ETH. They were second, but they're still alive and kicking.
Yeah, certainly. There is, but I agree. I mean, having the first mover advantage is always good for whatever you do, right? So certainly.
Honestly, very true. Now
Well, hello,
I am.
Spoopel. Welcome to the call.
Oh, he joined.
Hi, Adam. Yep,
Hi.
Oh, Adam. Hi. All right. So it's Adam. Hi, Adam.
Wait, I don't know where DeFi. My list of discords are awful. Uh, it's true.
I told you
Uh,
you should get rid of Nitro
I should get
just to force yourself to have less than 100 discords.
probably.
Yes.
Anyway, but yeah, no. So I mean, honestly, so, since Adam is here, one of the cool. Let's just. I guess we'll go back to IOTA if you don't mind, Firefly.
No, I don't. We will happy to chat about IOTA. Certainly.
I mean, yeah, I was talking about it before, but there's so like honestly, people always think real world use cases and utility and all these things, But honestly, some of the real world, people kind of espouse in certain protocols are very much utilities in their closed ecosystem.
Mm,
Like, you can have an NFT that boosts APR, but it does not ubiquitous everywhere. You know, it doesn't help anything other than say like I have an NFT for X finance or X finance.
mm,
You know, it only benefits X finance. Is completely worthless otherwise. Only for the people in that guy. There's no real thing. But it's interesting to see some of these protocols like Moonvault. Like Nico himself is trying to develop real world use cases for NFTs. Like
mm-hmm,
a multi-sig will. Someone passes away, they're not on for 6 months. It passes to the next of kin,
mm-hmm,
or whoever's on the multi-sig. Or for medical records, there's a lot of real world applicability, on the Web3 and the blockchain. I think people don't realize how big. People see like monkey JPEGs, shoved into an NFT and think that's all they are, and they cost 1,000 Ethereum.
yeah.
That's it set a bad precedent because real actual you can it's just DeFi, and I suppose tokens themselves like NFTs, just really up to the imagination of the devs, to bring what they can bring to the table and how it can work.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that's and it's again. I mean, it's like the NFT, the name NFT is like very similar to DAO. It's like hijacked by a certain association, right? And when you say NFT, yep, there is a JPEG with a monkey on it, right?
Yeah,
When
and DAOs, those are the things that crash and burn and die. Like,
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, certainly there is yeah, those names get easily associated with certain things, and once does this kind of this patch, sticks, it's difficult to get rid of it, right?
oh, absolutely. I will. More to the DeFi protocols. At least in my neck of the woods. Say like, hey, Zeph, which protocol can you corrupt today and bring to Shimmer? And I was like, excellent question. They're mostly, DeFi ones. They don't really. But no, it's going to be interesting. Like I honestly believe, for even one of the ones I associate with, if you can find, bring yourself outside the internet, so to speak, and into the eyes of the public,
Hmm.
like let's say, I'm not sure about the plan, but let's say DeFi token, or Blaze or whatever, you have it, and then it's like, hey, I want to get my water bottle with said token, DeFi, because and it becomes a household name. It's ubiquitous throughout, reality. If it becomes a household name, it becomes used as a viable currency to just change and exchange, trade and exchange. That's the winner at the end of the day. Not just as an investment vehicle, it's really become a utility to buy certain things that you need.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, absolutely. But I would say that those applications beyond, they are, I mean, certainly they are there. And as you say, I mean, those protocols that can present, with those kind of connections or real world application beyond just, generating,
Making money.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
beyond generating income for you. Definitely, there'll be those who would get adoption fastest,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. But I feel like if where DeFi comes in is a means to enable people to invest without worry and let the kind of do it automatically. But it's fun to see. It allows the strategies kind of enable kind of TVL to flow into various other protocols.
Mm,
While you may not have you know be in the eyes of the public, you can certainly enable others to like Yenatech or HomeDAO or whatever. I can't think of any others at the moment, but enable those if they're in your strategies to actually get some funds into them,
hmm.
and let them do the work that they want to do.
Yeah, certainly, certainly. So I would be actually curious, Adam, if you'd like to jump on the chat, and then you have some. It's a small group. It's a very casual. It's very informal, small. Well, agenda. Well, we don't really follow any agenda at the moment. So just presented some facts in the beginning of the AMA, the status of where we are today with DeFire. But beyond that, we are in a casual, random chat between us three, four here. So if you want to jump in and share some thoughts, maybe spark a discussion. That's always welcome.
Yes.
I don't
Um.
really hear you if you're speaking.
Yeah.
And I also saw Adam turn off on and
Yeah.
off his mic before. So
It might
yeah.
be an audio thing.
Mhm.
I'm not
And
sure
mm,
on his
Adam,
end.
perhaps you have this push to speak.
Nah. Maybe.
You have to
Um.
hold the button to say, I don't know.
Uh,
Mhm.
if it was um assume, if I had to guess, he probably has if he goes to his sound settings, he can probably figure out which mic is. Let me go. Like for me, it's the
Um.
Can you
voice.
hear me now?
Oh,
Yes,
hello.
you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, I did say
Hi.
push to talk. Man, what is this? I don't actually know what the push to talk button is on here.
Oh, I have no idea.
You
We
have
gotta
to
get you.
set it yourself, actually. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very
So I'll admit I am not super aware of what the protocol does, even
No
though it's in
worries.
Touchpoint. I have the other your website up in my other window, trying to
Uh-huh.
get my head around it to figure out what is pertinent to ask. But I should ask: are all three of y'all part of the team?
No, I'm just
No.
I'm just a random psycho who just just
Oh, I
kind
know
of
you
corrupts.
don't.
Yeah, I just kind of convinced protocols like this is it. You should join them. No, I'm just a friend, I
Yes.
suppose.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm from the team, one of the original founders of DeFIRE. So, and then I'm running this AMA. Actually, we have AMAs twice a week. I run one, usually Tuesdays. This week I scheduled it for Wednesday, and we have one more each Thursday that is more suited for US time zone, you could say.
Yeah.
So,
So
so we.
what is the
Mhm.
I guess if you could give me the elevator pitch of what it
Oh,
is that y'all are doing.
Definitely. So DeFire is an ecosystem of three elements, you could say. Well, first we have the DAO itself. So our governance and the way we operate, that's built around a DAO that now, before even we have launched, let's say the actual, well, DeFi protocol with its token, we are using the reputation-based token that we have given to people, and we are still giving to people for being active and engaged in the community. And then people can, with the use of that token, can participate in the governance. So despite, we haven't launched the protocol as such yet, but we run like DAO governance from there, from basically day one. Well, since we almost launched the kind of the public Discord and social media presence. So
What is the
that's
actual product though? It seems like you're
yeah.
trying
So
to just be
exactly.
a
Yeah.
stable. Hey, actually, I'll give my impression after reading two paragraphs of this thing.
Yeah.
See if
Go
I'm on
ahead.
the
Go
dot
ahead.
or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear. Yeah.
Um, but I was also reading while listening to you guys talk, so I probably don't have a great. But anyway, yeah. So I take it to be that it's an investing tool where the user chooses their risk level, and with the idea that people will not be touching their investments in DeFi, or they're have a long, I don't know, maturation period, I guess, or however you want to say it, or that they're planning on being. I don't know if you lock them or not, but
yeah, kind of just stake it, I suppose.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, you touch upon important points. I would say the key differentiator, if I had to say what is sort of the key to DeFi is this low touch access or user interface. So for us, when we were brainstorming about what we would like to build and what kind of needs we would like to answer to, was that the whole complexity of the DeFi space and how easy it is to access to it. So what we want to do and what we are focusing on is a solution that essentially allows you as a user, it doesn't matter whether you're experienced or new to crypto and DeFi, to basically with a click of a single button, let's say deposit, you deposit your stablecoin, you choose as you rightfully identified a DeFi strategy that you like. There'll be different risk levels that you can choose from, and that's pretty much it. It doesn't need to be like locked for long or short time. That will be pretty much up to the given strategy. Some strategies would require maybe a certain time commitment for the strategy to actually benefit you. So therefore, it doesn't make sense to deposit and withdraw from day to day. But there'll be strategies that you can come and go as you please. But the key, so also the sort of the key element to what we are building is this multi-chain access. So you could, let's say you have launched Shimmer and you're a user of Shimmer. You come to our Blaze protocol. That is the first one we will be launching down here. This is the one with those different containers, as we call it, but they are essentially strategies. You come from Shimmer. You have, I believe there will be USDC introduced on Shimmer, so you come with USDC. and you scroll through different strategies and you say, I like this strategy that uses solutions or DeFi solutions from Polygon, for example. So what you do, you just, well, hit deposit, you choose your strategy that you like, and you don't care whether it's on Phantom, Polygon, Ethereum, Shimmer. Everything is just taken care of for you. So the only thing that you need, well, you have to know how to get your stablecoin to blockchain. Doesn't really matter which chain. Well, obviously from those that we'll be supporting, and then you pick the solution you like, and everything else is taken care of for you. So we are really trying to simplify, the complexity of first interacting with DeFi, but also eliminating this, am I on the right chain? Oh, should I bridge my funds from there to there? No, I mean there is no need for that, because essentially that will be all taken care of by the smart contract that will be working in the background.
How
So,
do you sorry, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
How are you splitting your liquidity across all these chains? I mean,
Yeah,
so
okay,
if I
understand. Yeah,
because
so
if I operate on Shimmer and then you're using a DeFi strategy on Polygon, how is that working with with y'all's tokens?
so essentially, I mean, the strategies, they will be often using the existing DeFi solutions. For instance, I don't know, QuickSwap or Aave or Curve. So the strategies will be built with a use of of the existing solutions, and then the team will the asset managers we have, they are building the strategies, well, as they think are optimal fit for the given risk profile, right? So the funds will be then deposited into the actual uh, protocols that are already operating on those given chains, right? So I don't know whether that was the question you were asking.
Yeah, it's kind of like if I'm locking up USDC on Shimmer or Polygon or any one of these other ones, and I want to use a strategy that is only separate network. How do
Mhm.
my locked funds equate to tokens moving around on these opposite networks? But I guess it just you have pools for each chain.
Yes, and actually, it's good you're actually touching upon that, because this specific application. This is the most probably complex element of the development, to how to integrate and how to design this smart contract application, that you interact with a smart contract on one chain, the funds are then moved to another chain, and then the chain of event continues. It's not there's no break, you could say, right? Because normally when you bridge funds, well, you bridge it from one chain to another chain, and then the transaction end there, right? You have to then interact again with another chain. So those elements, yeah, they are the most complex to solve. But we have actually a good team of developers that we have hired, who is solving that. And I don't think, at least it's hard to be aware of everything, but I don't believe there is a protocol that has solved this yet. You could say how to that basically, you trigger an action on Shimmer, and then that action continues to another chain, and then there is there is another event or action triggered in the smart contract, let's say on Ethereum, for example, right? So that application will be truly novel, because I don't think there is, as I said, anybody else that is offering this kind of integration.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No,
Um,
that answered what I was getting at with that.
so that's that, and on top of that, the whole thing that is kind of uniting the whole ecosystem, because yeah, Blaze is the first protocol, but we have already another protocol in our pipeline, which is Ignite, that is similar to in functions to Alchemix from Ethereum, so self-repaying loans. But here you would be able to use the the containers with strategies that you have that you are interacting with on Blaze. You could use those to then receive a self-paying loan as a collateral, right? So you'd use your container as a collateral to receive a self-paying loan, for instance, right? So there is that already in the pipeline, and everything will be tied together by DeFIRE token that will have a similar functionality to this VE model that also Curve has adopted. So it will be a single governance token that will be the governance token for the entire ecosystem. So the more protocols we build, the bigger the expansion and adoption. There will always be a single governance token with a fixed limited supply, and that token will essentially, the way we look at it is like having like a share in a company, because that token will entitle you to collect part of the revenue that the whole ecosystem will be generating. So yeah, that's how we sort of thought it through on a very high level. And then, the whole name, DeFIRE, it actually ties to the FIRE movement, so financial independence, retire early. We want to sort of promote DeFi as a tool to, to your financial independence. So yeah, there is a high focus from our side on this responsible investing and risk-adjusted portfolios. And so basically, we want users to also not just enrich themselves financially, but also through our academy. We're also launching an academy, like Knowledge Academy, that will be trying to educate our community in terms of risk, how to build a portfolio, how to hedge against certain events that you don't want, and so on and so forth. So also kind of to cover this basic financial education. Nothing novel there, but that we think kind of ties well together with the overall offering that we are trying to build in terms of the protocols.
Yeah,
So
definitely makes sense.
So that was a short intro on the.
That was the short version.
So yes, and then since Shimmer is and IOTA, actually we started looking into it not a long time ago. Zephyr kind of pointed my eye towards IOTA, and then I started exploring it more. And yeah, as you notice yourself, we got introduced to Touchpoint, and we are discussing with your colleagues in Touchpoint the integration of DeFIRE into Shimmer. So yeah, definitely that's going to be nice to add another chain to the supported chains that we will operate on.
Yeah.
Which chains are those actually, by the way, that you're already on?
We haven't launched yet, but we are building for Polygon, Avalanche, and Phantom. These are the three first ones. There'll be Ethereum and Shimmer, possibly Binance Smart Chain too, because since they're all more or less compatible with each other.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Out of obscure chains, though, if you had to choose, like personally, I just because I've been talking to them, Linear and Aurora folks seem good. Any kind of weird, more obscure chain catch your eye, Firefly?
No, not really. I haven't really explored them all that much. There is enough to do on those that I mentioned, and also, although those chains are, let's say, similar in terms of how to build the code, they are still not identical, right? So there is still work to be done in order to adapt your protocol to a new chain. So there is enough to do with the chains that I mentioned, and yeah, for sure we'll be expanding. Probably, the chain that we would.
I very much assume that your community will force you to work really hard until you exhaust.
Yeah, for sure. So
It's not even deny. I was like, yeah,
no,
absolutely.
it's exciting. I mean,
It
looking,
is.
I
It's
think
good.
we're
It's good. It's
yeah.
good though.
I mean, we are working with our own pace, and it's obviously everybody would want things to happen as soon as possible or sooner that they are happening. But building a protocol or an ecosystem that is kind of novel to in this space, it takes time, and it's hard to just speed up certain things. I mean, they take time that they take because there are certain steps you can't just jump over. Just you have to go through them. Um, so yeah, so that's on the on that. Um, I don't know, guys, if you have some more topics, questions we could touch upon today.
Let's see. I got most of the DeFIRE questions out.
Uh-huh.
That one, and we talked about DeFIRE and IOTA.
We
But how
did.
about just by IOTA? We got Adam here. He's from the foundation himself. If you don't mind asking a few questions, Adam, I'm always curious about it because it's
Yeah,
interesting.
sure. I'll do my best.
If you're okay with that, Firefly.
Yeah, sure, go ahead. Definitely.
I think when people, I always, tell people like, oh yeah, IOTA's gasless. To which they, incredulously ask, that's a lie. They gotta just say that. They don't believe well, it's not chain, but Shimmer is well, the IOTA is a DAG, it's a distributed ledger technology and blockchain alternative. Can you kind of describe, how IOTA is gasless or tries to attain that, and as well as some of the how big the community is as well. Like people have never heard of it on our side of DeFi, but it is actually a huge server, and the community itself is just massive, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I speak much more to the second point than the first, particularly because the feelessness is something that is, it's not that feeless is going to change necessarily, but the model for how IOTA
Mm-hmm.
reaches consensus and the incentive behind it will change with IOTA 2.0, which the whole
Ah.
point of that is to the coordinator-less IOTA that has been going
Yeah,
on.
the Corda side, that's a whole other story as well. But yeah, I think yeah.
But speaking to the community side, yeah, there's two things. One is that this actually has two sides. One is that IOTA has an extremely strong community, particularly because it's this chain that is so old. And then I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that it's kind of like it's a lot of people who are kind of hardened by how long everything has taken. Everything in blockchain kind of takes a long time. It just doesn't
Like
seem
it's
like
like the Ethereum's the merge, but it'll actually come soon. That's how I
yeah,
view
they've
Shimmer.
been talking about the Casper, the what is it, friendly finality something, Casper
I
FFT
don't know.
since
Yeah.
2017 or something like that, or 2016, whatever. So
Yeah.
these things take a while. So and then there's been a bunch of kind of restructuring within IOTA and the
Oh,
founders.
absolutely.
But the people in the community are, I feel like they're actually pretty DeFi. They're kind of new to DeFi, and so what we're
Mm-hmm.
doing and bringing Shimmer on to the scene is going to kind of do two things. One, it'll be like a opening the floodgates for some of these people to enter DeFi, and at the same time, it provides what y'all had said as I entered the chat. This kind of first mover advantage for people who want to kind of stake a foothold and be the trusted solution, so long as it works in those communities. So I think that should be a big opportunity as well. And you also said real world adoption, which is something that's always kind of really close to the IOTA community. And it's um, my hope is that these with Shimmer, this real world adoption messaging or this push towards it doesn't go away, and that Shimmer only reinforces the way that real world adoption can happen with DLTs. And if you really want to lose a lot of friends easily, I can say that blockchains are also technically DAGs, but they're sequential.
It's true. That's a good
Um,
point. And, you know, when
they're
you
they're
tell
directed and acyclic, but I try not to bring that up too much. But
it's a small and obscure point, but it will annoy the hell out of some people.
yeah.
It's true.
But yeah, that's the potted version of the IoT community, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, yeah, that's true. IOTA is quite old. I mean, old. I think what, 5 years? So, I think one of our
2016, I think the white paper was, or 17.
okay, yeah, one of other team members, Phoenix of DeFi project, he actually said to me the other day that he bought his IOTA tokens in 17. So yeah, he
A lot
has.
of it was Bitcoin during. That's how it started. Same way Ethereum did. In a lot of these earlier protocols, you had to change your Bitcoin for them.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been yeah, you've been around guys for a while, but it's
I
it
yeah. Honestly, it's been it speaks to the testament of how how long IOTA has endured. But also, some people like I was talking to this one guy and he randomly checked his Binance account, like, hey, I have IOTA. And it's like, how much? $600,000 worth. Like, that's insane.
Wow.
Um, but
If you asked him that, if you asked him like 2 months ago, it might be a much smaller amount.
yeah, that's true. It might have been a smaller amount, but honestly, like, wow, that's crazy. It was
hmm.
like,
Yeah. Well,
it was actually just a funny thing. Like you helped me find $600,000. Like, great. Do I get some? It's like, no. It's like, figures.
But
Uh,
Adam, I was actually wondering,
mm,
I kind of maybe well, it's a conclusion that I reached to myself. Perhaps you can correct me if I'm wrong. But the launch of well, first of all, just going step back. When I look at IOTA's foundation website, it speaks a lot about what is the vision and mission for the IOTA Foundation and whatnot. It's this broad day-to-day adoption and machine learning and Internet of Things, through a distributed ledger technology, all great and fantastic. But then we have the Shimmer network launching, right? So how that fits into the overall mission and vision of IOTA Foundation, isn't it? Isn't so? Then before you answer, so my conclusion was, well, I understand the logic and I actually support it. It's most likely, isn't it, to actually first to kind of present the some kind of use case application, even though it's DeFi, that maybe doesn't 100% answer the call of the of the high level vision the IOTA Foundation has, but at least it puts some eyes on the IOTA, on Shimmer, on the actual application it has. Although yes, it is DeFi. Well, whether it's good or bad, we can argue, but it is a first step, isn't it? And then from there, once you have established your foot, yes, we have applications, we have a real use case. Then to develop and build further towards your higher level vision.
yeah, that's actually a pretty good summary. The way we look at it is that we broadened our vision.
Hmm.
Originally, as you said, there was this big machine economy and IoT play, and we thought that DLT that is the way that it would manifest itself. But the problem with this is that when you do enterprise partnerships, these things take 5 and 10 years for even or to even see a minimum viable product. So
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I understand. So yeah, I think it's because also you will most likely you will see, well, once Shimmer has launched and there are protocols present, you'll see probably an influx of users also from other chains, right? That they never heard of or never tried IOTA before. And I'm sure there'll also be an influx of users from other chains, or more, let's say, DeFi established chains, into Shimmer, and then probably broader understanding and adoption of IOTA as a whole, right? Oh, Oh, hello. Hello. I believe I'm back again. I hope.
Near had
I had some kind of internet issue, I think.
Okay.
Sorry.
yeah.
I believe I got disconnected from Discord for a second, and then I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah. So
So
yes,
Macaroni is asking a question, then I can probably tackle both these at the same time, depending on other questions. You want to finish that question? You're relating it to
No,
Nier?
I was just thinking, yeah, Nier has an EVM which is Aurora, and is Shimmer anything like that?
Yes. I actually don't know the specifications of Aurora if it is an exact copy of an EVM. Our Shimmer EVM will not be exactly like the EVM. There will be, for instance, we do random ordering of transactions to eliminate the possibility of MEV or maximum or minor, depending on who you ask, extractable value. We think that this makes it a little bit more fair. There's some other small tweaks, like optimization tweaks to the EVM, but functionally it'll operate the same way. Now, what's different is that for Near, you have their layer one, which is written in Rust, I think, or WebAssembly, and then Aurora built on top of it, which is Solidity and EVM. But for our layer one, this Shimmer mainnet that the Shimmer EVM is built on top of, the Shimmer mainnet doesn't have smart contracts going on it. The Shimmer mainnet acts as a trust anchor for smart contracts that are built, for smart contract chains that are built on it. So it has a slightly different relationship. And even calling them layer one, layer two kind of might give a false impression because people anchor these things to the way Ethereum works. So, for instance, what kind of thing happens is, well, we can have multiple chains that both anchor their state onto the DAG, onto Shimmer mainnet, and these smart contracts are composable, and they can refer to each other, and they can, for instance, they you might have a smart contract or that some token written on a smart contract, and to go through the other smart contract or to it, you don't need a bridge to do that. Instead, it talks to the tangle below it, and then the tangle fearlessly sends it from one to the other, and then it pops up on the other smart contract. There is some fees involved. The EVM will itself have fees, and as you know, or as you might know, wrapping and unwrapping tokens also involves a fee. But the actual moving of those tokens through the tangle will be feeless. And the reason why this I think is innovative, because we have some innovative use cases with our tangle, which is also a UTXO model. I think Near is probably an account-based model, but I'm not positive on that. Which is that we've added some things like a time lock function where you can send tokens to an address and they have to do something with the tokens or else the tokens get reverted back to the sender. And you have a token foundry, or without all the jargon, you can mint NFTs and tokens directly onto the feeless layer one. This means that if we get a partnership like USDC or USDT and we get them to make their own foundry, that we will essentially be able to achieve feeless stable coins, which this is my personal kind of hobby horse lately, is that I think this is one of the largest use cases of blockchain technology currently, which is the first vision, which was being electronic money. And I think stable coins, even though they're not as sexy as some other things, being able to transfer those feelessly is a pretty revolutionary. So
honestly, it is. Yeah.
the short answer is it works slightly different. It could be because the Shimmer mainnet gives the ability for smart contracts to be built, and then those smart contract chains have to be anchoring their state to the tangle, and this is different than how Near and Aurora works.
Understood. And I remember Aurora started off not having fees in at first, but then they added fees anyway. So
yeah, I don't know that. I mean, I didn't know that. I guess the reason would be one of two: either the fees were being subsidized somehow, or they did a Polygon, and they realized that having too low of fees kind of there's this kind of transaction quality trilemma, which is you either have to have fees, you have to censor transactions, or you have wait, what is the last one? Or spam mitigation somehow, I think. So, because if you have no fees, it's trivially easy to spam the network. At least on the way like EVM style blockchains work, and this is why IOTA kind of works a little bit differently than that on the base level. But yeah, I'm not actually sure why they what was led them to change.
Yeah, I've been wondering too. Thank you for the insight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so I remember what I was talking about with Firefly. So
Yep.
the short story is we expanded our view because enterprise solutions, they take too long. They're just were not the right business decision. And there's this kind of revealed preference that people wanted to use DLTs for things like DeFi, NFTs. And these are things that us in the foundation, at least most of us, like we all like this stuff as well. And so we kind of thought like, how can we broaden our scope to incorporate smart contract capabilities? Because originally IOTA was just transferring value, and that's it. I mean, this is how Bitcoin works originally too. And then we wanted to be like, okay, well, how are we transferring value and having this kind of logic layer on top of it, which smart contracts. So,
Yeah.
And to kind of, I still think that these visions though are connected as well. And the ultimate goal of IOTA still stands that it's kind of this digital autonomy for people and for machines as well.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I mean that's a whole topic in itself, this digital autonomy. I mean, also I had a chance to look through your, I say your, I mean, general foundation, IOTA Foundation, not specifically you yourself, but
Yeah.
there
I'm
was,
trying to describe whatever you looked at.
yeah. So there was now this law being discussed in the European Union, right? And I think IOTA Foundation made an open letter to
Yeah, the
European
TFR.
Parliament. Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes. So and that in itself is an element of digital autonomy, right? If you
Yeah,
sort
I
of
also find it interesting that I didn't hear many other DLT networks bringing this up. Like they seem to not care about it. I guess it seemed like IOTA was the only people who were really putting their shoulder to that wheel. I would love to be wrong about this, but I didn't hear anybody else kind of like going up to bat.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be, depends on, the origins of the chain, where the chain is really kind of, I don't want to use, probably for a lack of better term, like registered, right?
Yeah, they
Like
definitely kind of have
established, you
their
could say.
regional feel.
Yeah. So it could be as well, again, as far as I recall, the IOTA is established in European Union, right? Um, and that in itself probably makes you guys more. I mean, that obviously you are following closer what is happening in the EU and
Yeah,
all sorts of regulations.
yeah. I mean, it's
Um,
also because we're in the running to there's I don't know if you're familiar with the EBSI competition or the EBSI in general, which is the European Blockchain Service Infrastructure. I think I got the acronym name right. And the
mhm,
idea is like having an EU-wide blockchain infrastructure, and there's like sort of like 8 people who are in the running for it, and IOTA is trying to be this kind of trust anchor to, which is why we have so much push into digital passports. I mean, not like actual passports, but digital identification of passports, and then other DID stuff and verifiable credentials. We have
mhm,
our hands in a lot of cookie jars, I guess, trying to
mhm.
push
So,
it forward.
who may I ask who are some of these other blockchains that are in the running, or is this all secret?
I
Uh,
actually don't know. I had seen actually no, I don't know is the wrong answer. I had seen the list and none of them were like big names. Only one of them I'd ever even heard of before, and I don't even know if it was they had a layer one. I think it was just a team who was trying to get in on it. But yeah.
Interesting. So, from what you basically told me, I never heard of these blockchains, and I've heard of IOTA. So it seems like you have the best shot, basically.
Yeah, I would
Uh,
hope.
But I guess
Oh,
it's a public initiative. I mean, public. I mean, European, funded by
Yeah.
European Parliament, I would imagine, right? Or
Yeah, that's a
is
good question. I'm not actually sure.
mm. Because ultimately, I mean, the question is, yeah, it's great with this, let's say, EU blockchain, but who is going to control it, right? In the end,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
and and who is going to have a custody over the data being processed in the chain. And that's like it's but just to provoke maybe just not a
yeah.
short
But of course, this is the big question with decentralization. I mean,
indeed,
the whole point of IOTA 2.0 is to make a truly permissionless um, way of not only the base layer without a coordinator, which essentially just sets milestones
right.
to show which transactions are final, but also the way that um, permissionless smart contracts could work as well. So it's instead of being like, this is how I think about it. I don't think of EPSI being like we are we are in the competition because then we can choose who is controlling, like who has power over the blockchain, but instead we are trying to make a fair and distributed blockchain, and then we want them to build on top of us. And they would of course be incentivized to have their own nodes, like one entity is probably not going to trust another entity's node if they have enough stake on the chain or on the DAG on the network. But I don't think the narrative is at all to kind of give specific power to nation states or to large corporations or anything like that. I think it's just a running to see who has the most feasible technology to make an infrastructure that can be trusted.
Right. But then the question is whether the other uh, seven other chains or providers that are offering their services have similar view to IOTA, right? Regarding
Yeah,
that
yeah. I mean, I know
that
absolutely
process.
nothing about them, so maybe we're all saying the exact same thing. I wasn't part of I came on the IF team after this process had started, so
Right.
I'm not really sure how that conversation had gone.
Yeah.
it's like it sounds so intriguing. Mostly to the point I want to know these chains. Mostly of like some weird, morbid
I
curiosity.
don't remember. I saw it like months ago, and I don't remember them even really being names of chains. They were just like names of
Mm.
groups or lab. Everything in blockchain
All
now is
I
running
need,
on
that's all I need. I need to go hunt down through the Discord wildlands and figure out
You
who that
probably
is.
find it there, to be honest. I think it's somewhere around there. That's probably how I saw it.
Yeah.
Probably.
But
Which then
anyway, I'm gonna get ready for another call and jump unless there's another final question on your side to me.
Well, no, it was more to continue on that discussion and basically just wanted to maybe just throw just something in the air saying, well, when, because probably a question about if is probably, well, easy to answer, but the question more like when we'll see those big tech companies like Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon to launch their own distributed ledger
I mean, they've
technology.
tried. That's what this whole IBM Hyperledger was, and I think they just found out that if you are going to run, this is my take. And I'm sure I'm ignorant of a lot of it though, but they found that I would say running a private blockchain or private Tangle in our case isn't really much better than just running your own centralized server. If you want to maintain control, that's just what you do. So it doesn't make sense for someone like IBM to
Hmm.
try to do this because they don't have the same, or at least them as a company don't necessarily have the same values of decentralization that the wider blockchain space does.
Yeah. I see. I
That's
see.
my take. I could be wrong here, but
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean, you don't hear about any of these companies doing that because they don't want to work with other companies. And their information is proprietary. It's not driven by this. It doesn't have its roots in this kind of, uh, you know, anarcho, what do you call it, cypherpunk movement of taking
No.
power away from every level.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah. That's well, they have certainly a different narrative, and yeah, it could be very well as you say that. Well, they can just achieve the same centralization with just the means and the technology they have in operation today, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it could very well be the case. But yeah, well, don't want to take you, your time longer. You have another call, so just, thanks for popping by and joining the conversation. It
Yeah,
was,
thanks for answering my questions, and thank you all for your questions as well.
yeah.
And I will see
Well,
those
just,
two.
just the last thing before you go, just want to ask you
Yeah.
if that's okay. I'm usually recording those AMAs. Is it okay that I publish with you, with your answers and comment and questions?
Yes. Gonna say yes.
Okay, sure. I mean, unless if you change your mind, you can go back to me, and then we'll just cut whenever you join it, and we'll just publish the shorter version if that's if you have something against. But sorry, I should have mentioned in the beginning when you joined.
No, it's fine. No, I'll if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to at least hear first and make sure that I didn't say anything that runs afoul of
Oh,
like too
absolutely,
much
sure.
my opinion of what I think IOTA is versus what we as a foundation support.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, sure. I will.
Adam's bosses will be like, no, you
Yeah,
can't publish
We
this.
will.
trying to
We,
become more open, but I don't want to.
no,
No,
no.
it's okay.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'll share the file with you before we upload it to our YouTube channel.
Okay, yeah, sounds great.
All right. Thanks for popping by.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye. All right. Well, I guess we then be probably closing the call unless you have some final questions, Smacaroni and Zephyr. It's been a good talk today. It was good to have a new guest on the show.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having us, Firefly. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It was good talks. I mean, if we can, let's see. I mean, then maybe that could be a thing. I mean, every week we can get some new exciting guests and then have a conversation about blockchain and development of this technology in general, right? Not necessarily DeFi. I mean, how much we can talk about DeFi every week. I mean, there is not that.
Absolutely. No, we gotta find other blockchains that we can shove into your protocol. I'm like, hey, I actually forget the name of the Avalanche's founder. I'm terrible at pronouncing it as well. But honestly, that'd be neat, just to have a person from the Avalanche Foundation or Polygon Foundation, or even that would be very neat to see all these people come into DeFi.
Absolutely. Even competing or not competing, protocols that can collaborate with DeFi, whatnot. I mean, just to have a new and fresh perspective on certain topics, right? All right then.
Yeah, 100%.
Uh,
Anyway, thank you so much, Firefly. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining, and have a great day.
Absolutely, 100%.
Thank
See ya.
you.
Bye.